Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another soap making video this week. This is a tale of two hearts and I'm so excited to be doing this design today. I'm going to start as always by adding my lye water solution to my warm liquid oils, and I'm just going to stir that in with my spatula until the soap mixture has emulsified and come to a thin trace. My next stage with this design, I'm going to split my batter into two buckets. And in my first bucket I'm adding some rose kaolin clay for a nice dusty pink colour, and some zinc oxide into my other part, and I do use a non-nanoparticulate zinc oxide. So I'm going to start by working with the white half of the soap. Stick blender to disperse my zinc oxide, and I'm using my spatula to stir the soap to try and get some of those air bubbles out. I've added some spearmint and eucalyptus essential oils, and I'm going to pour my soap batter into my two loaves. This soap is going to have a diagonal layer. I've been wanting to do a soap with a diagonal layer for a couple of years, so I'm really excited to be doing it today. And I'm just using some silicone bath bomb molds that I have to prop up the back side of my mold to keep that diagonal layer. Next I'm going to add my heart-shaped column molds into the white part of the soap. I'm just pushing them down far enough into the corner that the white layer will cover them. The next stage I'm doing is adding my pink layer, and I'm just adding that right on top with the soap mold still propped up, and I'm using this measuring cup because I can't get my spatula in to break the fall. So I'm just adding a little bit at a time just so that I don't break through the white layer of soap. I've added as much of the pink layer as I can. My mold is getting pretty full, so I'm laying the mold back down and I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the pink layer to fill up my molds. I have a white heart-shaped column embed that I'm going to add into this pink side, and I am pushing it down far enough that it goes into the pink layer, but not so far as it breaks through into the white layer. Now I didn't adjust my soap recipe any, so the amount of soap I made was designed to fill these molds, and adding those two heart column embeds has meant that there's a little bit extra soap in these molds. They're just going to be a little bit taller. But this soap has set up enough that I can use the back of my spoon to create the texture that I usually make and bring that soap back into the middle of the mold. The day before I made this soap, I piped these heart embeds that I'm placing on top of the soap, and I just used a round tip and piped them onto some freezer paper. I'm going to add one of these hearts onto each of the top of the soaps. But as you can see, while I was placing these on top, they did turn out to be very fragile and I broke a couple, so I'm not sure how well these are going to fare in the long run. But here is a close-up look of the top of the soap. Alright, it is the next day and I am back to cut this soap. I'm lining it up with the wires to place the heart embeds between the wires. and I did need to turn this one on its side. And as you can see, cutting this soap did break almost every single embed on top of the soap. It's exactly what I was worried about. Those hearts were just too fragile. They were very pretty, but they wouldn't have survived the shipping and they wouldn't have survived transport to and from my farmers markets. So I am going to have to do something different with these soaps. I'm so thrilled with the way the inside of these soaps turned out. I've wanted to make a diagonal layer in soaps for a long time, and this was a perfect opportunity to do that with the contrasting hearts. I just love the inside. Alright, it is the next day again, and I'm back to fix the top of these soaps. So I'm creating my soap piping recipe, and I use a heat transfer method. So my hard oils are still semi-solid, and I've added hot lye water solution to this and left that to melt the hard oils. Once they're fully melted, I add my liquid oils into the mix, and that's thin the soap batter back down to a light trace. And I'm splitting the soap batter out into two parts, a pink part and a white part. The pink part I've added some rose clay to, and I'm going to add some zinc oxide to both parts. I just want to lighten the pink up a little bit, and the white part needs to be white. Once again, I'm going to disperse the zinc oxide with my stick blender, and I'm going to keep stick blending these to set them up a little bit. The next stage of this process is going to be preparing these soap bars. You can see a lot of them have those broken hearts. The ones that do still have the hearts intact, I'm just going to snap those hearts off. There was nothing wrong with these hearts other than them being brittle. The soap is fine and safe to use, so the part of the heart that's still in the soap isn't going to cause any problems whatsoever as the soap is being used. So I'm going to go through all of the bars of soap, break off the hearts that are there, and break off any tips and rough edges that are extruding. I'm using a round Wilton piping tip to create these little soap piping hearts on the top of my soap, and I'm just starting on one side of the soap, piping a little bit of soap and dragging the tip into the middle, and that lets the soap trail off, become thinner at the bottom, and produce these little hearts. I did find it easier to start from the middle of the bar. That really lets these hearts nestle together, and this is what it looks like up close. Aren't they cute? The soap piping that I'm using is a darker pink, which lets it really stand out against the soap so that you can actually see the heart piping on top. I'm going to go ahead and finish piping the rest of these bars. And I did find that the more soap you pipe on the edges and release the pressure as you get to the middle, it produces a nice rounded heart shape. Now I'm going to start working with the white soap that I have. This soap is nicely set up, and I'm going to do the same thing, piping those little hearts on top on the other side. So I have the pink hearts on one side and the white hearts on the other side, and the top of this soap really matches nicely with the inside. So this wasn't the original design for the top of this soap, but I actually really prefer it. It's going to be much easier to ship out and transport this soap, and it actually really matches the inside of the soap a lot better. So I'm going to give you a close-up look of the finished design. This is the top of the soap once it's set up. And here is a look at the inside of the soap. I couldn't be more happy with the design of the middle of the soap. I just love it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next Tuesday.